Despite all my time working in the local scene, I had never actually been to a major music festival. I was either always too young, too broke, or stuck in a job that just wouldn't give me the time off to go. So I missed out on a lot of things like Opikopi, Thornfest, the original Ramfest, and so many others during this time. That finally changed this past weekend, and holy shit, what an experience Ramfest 2025 was. Before I get into my story, I should say that I was at Ramfest Pretoria, which for the most part ran pretty smoothly. I'm fully aware of what happened in Cape Town, getting rained out, the final sets being cut short, and the Devil Wears Prada only getting through one song before the event having to be shut down just due to the severity of the weather. I would have been devastated, and everyone who's upset has every right to be. The opinions online about this seem pretty split, so let me know in the comments what your experience was and what your thoughts on the whole situation are. And with that out of the way, this is what my Ramfest 2025 looked like. We arrived a bit late and unfortunately missed the first two bands. I Believe in Giants was already done by the time we got there, and Die was mid-set while we were waiting in the queue outside to get in. And let me tell you, the FOMO was absolutely fucking real. I love Die, and I also found out later that Sunken State got onto stage to perform their new song with them. Come on, guys. I feel like entry could have moved a bit faster, but that narrow bottleneck feels more like a limitation on the venue more than the fault of the organizers themselves. Once we were finally through, we made our way straight to the festival grounds, and man, what a sight. It was smaller than I expected, but also bigger than anything I had been to before. The first stage was directly on our left as we entered the grounds, and it was currently occupied by Effort's Neyman and the Avery that were busy tearing that stage up. And I knew at this point that if this was going to be setting the tone for the evening, I was going to be in for one hell of a night. At this point, the crowd was still filtering in, everyone deciding to arrive at roughly the same time. I mean, us included at this point. And they were all trying to find friends, grab a drink, or just settle into the grounds in general, which is a shame because Effort's Neyman and the Avery were putting on one hell of a show. After a few songs, I decided to take a walk around and get a feel for the rest of the grounds, and I made my way down to the MXD stage where No Closure was busy setting up. By this point, the crowd was starting to fill out quite nicely as everyone was starting to make it into the grounds, and the Halloween costumes were everywhere. My favorite being this dude who was dressed up as Dante from Devil May Cry. Fun fact, your boy is a massive Devil May Cry fan, so seeing this dude doing his Dante cosplay apps got me unreasonably hyped, so shout out to you, dude, that shit looked fucking awesome. The second stage, the MXD stage, was basically the metal stage, and I will admit, I was not exactly happy with the sound on the stage throughout the night. There was just a difficulty hearing guitars, the backtracks just felt like they were too loud half the time, and I think a band like lost drums through their set somewhere. And in my opinion, that kind of sucks because one, as an audience, you deserve better, and two, the bands work their asses off to be there, and it's kind of a shame for them too. But here's where the contrast kicked in and made the moment hit even harder, because despite the sound issues, No Closure absolutely tore that stage apart. It was my first time getting to see them live, a tragedy, I know, but I was so hyped that I spent a third of my camera's battery just filming their set and the crowd. And oh my god, the crowd during their set. Circle pits, a wall of death, crowd circles, and this dude who was just doing backflips and shit in the crowd.
Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne!
Dude, I don't know who you were, but if you see this, like, holy shit, I was fucking impressed. There was a point where Gareth, who is the vocalist of Human Nebula, dressed as Gandalf, was standing in the middle of a wall of death, hitting the iconic "You shall not pass" pose, while people just barreled towards him. And it was at this point where the sound issues just stopped mattering for the time being. Seeing No Closure on that stage, giving it their all, and the crowd just giving it straight back to them was just downright awe-inspiring. In my opinion, Katie has one of the coolest stage presences I've ever seen from a local band within the scene, and he generally sets a standard of how musicians should be acting on stage to at least look like they're enjoying what they're doing. granted, like, I probably couldn't fucking lift my leg that high, so do what you will with that information. I'm probably just being a doers. After no closure set, I made my way back up to the Ram stage where the Hellcats were tearing into their set. I was pretty shocked when I got there and realized that it was a two-piece band, because I haven't seen Hellcats before. So credit to those dudes for making a two-piece band sound like a full lineup on a stage that big. At this point, I figured I would just grab a quick drink and made my way over to one of the bar areas, and immediately got trapped in a queue that felt like it was coordinated by Home Affairs. While it was stuck in the queue, the Hellcats pulled some friends up onto stage and then just tore into one of the filthiest covers of Killing in the Name of that I've heard in a long time. And I got to watch it from the bar queue, as you can tell by this wonderful B-roll footage that I tried to take. After about another 10 minutes of waiting in the queue, my hopes of getting a drink died completely. And that's the point where Raptor Baby started kicking off their set. And I'm gonna be honest, like, that queue wasn't going anywhere anyway, so I made a pretty easy choice and went to go watch Raptor Baby instead. Raptor Baby went full in on the Halloween theme. Dinosaur suits, I mean, obviously, an alien, a giant rooster, and even a sumo wrestler. Anyone who's ever been on stage before knows how absolutely insane that decision is, because it gets hot as balls up there. So massive respect to them for committing to that and performing their entire set in those outfits. Was there a payoff though? Absolutely. The crowd 100% matched their energy. Another round of mosh pits, circle pits, and then just all-round chaos. Like, the energy did not dip for a second throughout their set. Of course, the trademark Raptor Baby didgeridoo made an appearance, and I could tell by the people around me who hadn't seen them before or knew what Raptor Baby was about, I could tell they had their minds blown, because once again, what band is using a didgeridoo on stage? In between sets, I had chats with a couple of homies who were also at the festival. Ernest being a creator on TikTok, who would just pull in and out of mosh pits and come and tell me how they were or what he thought of the current band. Ian, who is better known online as Itzioska, had a chat with me about his thoughts on the sound and the bands that were performing at the time as well. Running into Danny from Drunk Wizard was also pretty sick. I've had their debut single, Break Glass, on my daily listening playlist. He was also with Brandon from Middle Grounds, and he's just one of the sweetest people that I know within the scene. Also, Divan from the band Marshmallow was also just an absolute animal. I mean, every time I saw this kid, he was on some kind of crackhead activity. I mean, just look at this. How this boy survived the night without a serious injury is a mystery to me, and I guess that's just a testament to being in your early 20s. Actually, I think this kid's fucking 19 years old or some shit. Heading back over to the Ram stage to catch Bongloard launching into their set, and if you're like me and you had no idea who Bongloard was before this, I suggest you fix that. These guys came over all the way from Holland, and I'm really sad to say I didn't check them out prior to this. They'd won me over within a few minutes of watching them, just simple alternative punk done extremely well with a really good matching performance. And judging by the crowd's reaction, I wasn't the only one who was impressed by them. I really hope that there were a bunch of other people in the crowd who, like me, didn't know who they were and left wanting to go check them out some more. I definitely regret walking in unfamiliar, but I will definitely make an effort to see this band again if they come to South Africa again in the near future. Sunken State was up next back on the MXD stage, and listen, it's no secret that I love this band. And good God, they delivered despite the sound issues that were still persisting on the stage throughout the night. The contrast between who Dwayne is off stage versus on stage will never not be funny to me, because off stage he's one of the sweetest dudes you can have a conversation with, and then the next thing you know he's on stage calling the crowd a bunch of soft cunts for not going hard enough.
Yo, open up the fucking back, you bunch of soft cunts!
The whiplash is unreal, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious to me. As always, the crowd response for Sunken State is just something to behold. There's just something about this band that flips a switch in people. Pits open up, people lose their shit. There were a bunch of dudes dressed as Checker 6060 drivers losing their shit in that mosh pit. On a side note, those guys just kept multiplying. Every time I looked, there was another Checker 60 driver. Were you guys all friends? Were you a group of friends, or was there just a bunch of dudes who completely coincidentally showed up to Ramfest dressed up as a fucking Checkers driver. Say what you will about Sunken State being on so many lineups within the local metal scene, but these boys have worked really hard to get where they are, and the crowd shows up for them every single time. And then, speaking of whiplash, the next artist we got to watch back on the Ram stage was Jack Parow. And listen, you might be thinking, like, Jack Parow on a lineup full of alternative and metal bands? The fuck is he doing there? But let me tell you, you'd be dead wrong about Jack Parow. When I say that this man's live performance fits the vibe of Ramfest perfectly, I'm not exaggerating. Everything from the stage presence, the visuals, the energy, and the insane live band that he brings with him. This man just puts on a stupidly good live show. He also just never fails to engage with his audience. Like, he is just one hell of a showman. Personally, I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get to see a live version of Bongloard, but it wouldn't have really fit the vibe of the show. And with all of that being said, if you're on the fence about Jack Parow, just go watch him live. This is my third time watching him, and I haven't been disappointed yet. After the Jack Parow set, I figured it would be a good time to grab something to eat, so I headed over to the food stands with a friend. We settled on shawarmas until I got to the front of the queue and saw that it was 180 Rand for one. Now listen, I'm fucking broke, okay? And you could say whatever you want, but there is no universe that I can justify spending 180 Rand on a single shawarma. So I pivoted, I hit a fucking complete 180, made my way over to the chip and dip stand where I belonged and the rest of us broke boys, hoping that I could afford that. Yeah, I could afford chip and dip at least. Your boy didn't starve for the night. I didn't bother checking out any of the other food stands at that point. I think most of them were already sold out by that point anyway. But let me know in the comments, what did you think of the food? Was it worth it? Did I dodge a bullet? Let me know. After grabbing a bite to eat, it was time to catch Vulvodynia back on the MXD stage. I was beyond stoked to see them with a new lineup. New vocalist, new bassist, Lwandile back on guitar. This should have been sick. Here's the problem though. This is where all the previous sound issues that I'd mentioned came to a head. And let me preface this by saying, I have watched Vulvodynia multiple times in the past. I know how absolutely crushing this band is live. So when I say that the sound that we got as an audience was a fucking disgrace, I am not exaggerating. It genuinely felt like the sound engineer on duty had never mixed a metal band before. I didn't hear a single guitar solo. From Vulvodynia, the band with not one, but two 1 in a million guitarists in it. Was their new bassist any good? Fucked if I know. I couldn't hear shit. He looked pretty cool on stage though. What should have been a sick first show with a new lineup just turned out to be absolutely disappointing. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one who felt that way. After venting my frustrations to a couple of musician friends who were hanging around after the show, I made my way back to the Ram stage to catch the Narrow. The last time I saw the Narrow was at a New Year's party at Arcade Empire closing out 2015. Back then it was easily one of my top 10 live performances I had ever seen. And I'm happy to say that they haven't lost their edge over a decade later. The Narrow hit the stage like the absolute veterans they are and reminded everyone why they are a legendary South African band. Lonely, lonely, lonely Sunday morning. Lonely Lonely still has people screaming the lyrics back at them with the same passion that they had 20 years ago. And if that isn't one of the most rewarding feelings as a musician, then I genuinely don't know what is. They also included a cameo from Daisy Arson within their set and performed some of the Doom Fairy songs, Doom Fairy being a collaborative project between some of the members of the Narrow and Daisy Arson as well. This was a pretty interesting change of pace, but it looked like it was pretty well received and it sounded really good as well. There was also another song that the Narrow did, and I for the life of me can't remember what it's called, but it's that never mind, I'm fucking taking that out. But people fucking love that. With the Narrow having made up for the disappointment that was the sound during Vulvodynia, I made my way back to the MXD stage to catch Facing the Gallows. This was my first time seeing Gallows with their new drummer Aiden, and given how rough the sound had been for the rest of the night, I really wasn't sure what to expect at this point. But I was pleasantly surprised to find the mix way better for Gallows' set, and I found out later in the night that apparently someone ripped the sound engineer a new one, and that would explain the big jump in quality in the sound. For the sake of the other bands, I just wish that it happened a little bit sooner. Gallows absolutely threw down, and after a song or two they dipped off stage for a second and came back dressed up as the Backstreet Boys. They then proceeded to immediately launch into a disgusting cover of Everybody by the Backstreet Boys. I can't stress enough like how well this went down for whatever reason. and I'm pretty sure I had dreams about Regan's dance moves like that night. Please call me Regan. And then if that wasn't enough, they had another surprise for the crowd, and that was an inflatable raft that they threw into the crowd for people to crowd surf on, which went about how you would expect it to. At this point in the night, the energy of the crowd was absolutely insane, and it's just a testament to how well Gallows can control and motivate a crowd. I don't think I've ever been to a show where a Gallows crowd hasn't been fucking losing their minds or it hasn't been pumping, and it just kind of solidifies and reinforces why they're such a staple within South African metal. And then it was time for the headliner, the Devil Wears Prada. Honestly, I don't even know where to start. If you had to tell 15-year-old me that I would get to watch this band live, he would be foaming at the mouth. Songs like HTML Rules Dude or Hey John, what's your name again? These songs were core parts of why I wanted to play metal in the first place, and were instrumental in shaping my taste in music moving forward. Up until this point, I had managed to miss every international band that had influenced me somehow. Bring Me the Horizon, Billy Talent, Rise Against, to name a few. All of them had slipped by me over the years, so seeing the Devil Wears Prada in the flesh, yeah, this one was a big one. As they launched into their set, I hung back a bit. I was stuck in the usual content creator routine, trying to catch a few clips with my camera, until I realized that I was robbing myself of the moment. So I put my camera away and decided to just be there, with nothing between me and the stage, no other agenda other than just taking it all in. The level of professionalism that this band displayed is something that just can't be overstated. The visuals, the sound, the energy, the sheer stage presence was just on a whole other level. Jeremy and Mike put on one of the most insane live vocal performances I've ever seen in my life, in terms of both harsh and clean vocals. And my god, was this band tight, ridiculously tight. Every transition, every hit, every note, just exactly where it was supposed to be. Since I didn't capture much footage of Prada myself, a special shout out goes out to both Midnight Energy as well as Alexander Wolf for letting me use their footage as B-roll in this video. There is a link to Midnight Energy's YouTube channel in the description of this video, so go show them some love, please, I'd appreciate it. Funny enough, it felt like the crowd needed a few songs to warm up. Everyone was trying to collectively process that this band that had influenced so many of us in our teenage years was here in front of us, playing live, in South Africa of all places. But once they hit tracks like Chemical or For You or Solo, a switch flipped in the crowd and it became a different beast entirely. I told myself it's all done, it's only chemical. Looking around and seeing so many people in the same situation as me, reliving something they thought they would never get, was kind of emotional. Wholesome in the purest way, and something I don't think I'm going to forget anytime soon. I know so many local musicians who were in that crowd, watching those performances and suddenly seeing a new benchmark, a new goal, or something tangible to work towards. When a band like Prada comes to South Africa, it's not just a great show, it raises the ceiling for everyone involved. It proves that standard is achievable and that if we work hard enough, we can get there too. I genuinely hope that we see more international acts at this level coming through in the future. Whenever it happens, it just cracks the door open a little wider for the South African scene. It inspires everyone involved, whether it be bands, fans, creators, or promoters, to step up and be better. And to every person who came up to me at Ramfest with, "Hey, you're the Sledge Dude," or "I watch your videos," or "I love what you do for the scene," thank you. Seriously, it means more to me and to us as a platform than I could ever express or that you could imagine. Sharing a love for South African music is all we've ever wanted to do, and moments like that remind us why we keep doing it. So with that being said, what was your Ramfest experience? Did you have a good time? Who would you like to see at the next Ramfest? Let us know in the comments, and catch you in the next one.